Good morning, China. Welcome back to another video on General English. My name is Gavin. On behalf of Gate English Training School, welcome to Lesson 7. Now, today's lesson is a dangerous topic. So, before you continue the lesson, it's very, very important. Make sure you have had something to eat. Because today's topic is food. And if you are hungry right now, you're going to be really, really, really hungry in half an hour from now. So make sure you are not watching this class without having had lunch or food or something. Okay. Just giving you that warning now. I just had a snack. It's 10:40 on a Sunday morning in Australia. And I'm not quite hungry enough for lunch, but probably by the end of this, I might have to go and have an early lunch because I will probably be so hungry. So, food. This is an interesting topic to cover and sometimes a dangerous topic to cover because everyone has so many different ideas about food. I thought I'd choose a really good photo here. For those of you that love seafood, you would have loved this trip. This was taken on a boat in the Philippines on an island called Palawan, one of the nicest islands you can visit at the north, at a place called El Nido. Now, El Nido is a really beautiful tourist area. Lots and lots of tourists go there. And every morning, thousands and thousands of tourists go out on the boats. And they put about 20 people on a boat, and they go out, you go swimming and diving and look at the beautiful area. And at lunchtime, the people on the boat cook this amazing meal of barbecued seafood. They barbecue the fish and the prawns. You can see there's some crabs. I think they cooked the crab earlier, and lots of other dishes as well. It's a really amazing meal. And it was actually really, really, really cheap for the whole day. So if you want to consider a place to go for the holidays, Palawan, El Nido, beautiful place, amazing seafood lunch on the boat. Okay. So let's get started. Normally I do at this point, why do we talk about this topic? It's food. I think we know the answer to that. It's one of the most common topics on the planet. So let's start with some basic conversation. What kind of food do you like? Me? Everything. I'm somebody who would call myself a foodie. A foodie is just somebody that I love to try new foods. I love to eat lots of different kinds of food, and I like good quality food. I like to eat so many different things. So when my wife and I go on holiday, one of the most important parts of traveling is trying lots of different foods. So for me, I like variety. To me, even if I love this food, so for example, I love prawns. But if I eat prawns every single day, I probably won't like them so much in the future. So whatever I like to eat many different kinds of food. And by the way, when you go traveling, please get into that. Try all the different foods, and traveling is a much nicer experience. There's nothing worse than seeing a group of people, and I've seen many Chinese people do this. Go to a foreign country, try the food once, I don't like it. And then just go and eat Chinese food or feng bian mian the whole time. And that's just not traveling. Food, the more you try different foods, the more you like different foods. The less you do it, the less you like them. It takes time. What's your favorite fruit? My favorite fruit is apple. I do pretty much have an apple every day. And I haven't been to the doctor for a very long time. So if you don't know the expression, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. And it seems to be pretty true. I eat a lot of fruit. And so I think I am probably a good example of that. So what's your favorite fruit? My favorite fruit is an apple. What's your favorite kind of seafood? My favorite kind of seafood is prawns. Okay. What did you eat for breakfast? Now, in today's class, we're going to go through lots of common kinds of food. So for those of you watching, especially in China, but anywhere in the world, do you know how to say the food you ate in English? Okay, think about that. If you don't know, you can go and get a dictionary. One of the most common things to have in breakfast in China, I know that you have the youtiao, and this is kind of like a Chinese dough bread. It's not like a donut. A donut is like the circle one. You'll see that in America. So youtiao, I don't even know what to call that in English. It doesn't have a proper name. I just go fried dough. We probably call that Chinese fried dough. What did I eat for breakfast this morning? I ate some cereal and, of course, coffee. I have coffee every morning. I cannot live without it. Okay, so if you don't know how to say your food that you ate for breakfast, go and find out. Go and look online, look it up in the dictionary and see what you think. Next question. How often do you eat out? Okay, eat out is an expression, you should know this phrase, eat out, to go away from your home and eat in a restaurant or out of your home, basically. So this is a very different answer for me in Australia. I would say in Australia, I eat out 2 or 3 times a week. Maybe I will have one lunch and one dinner every week. One lunch and one dinner away from my home each week. And maybe one other time I might grab a lunch when I'm busy away from home. But in China, I probably eat out 10 times a week. Probably 4 or 5 dinners, 4 or 5 lunches I will have away from my home. So it's very different, more because it's so much cheaper to go out and eat in China. Who usually cooks in your home? I wonder if my wife's watching this. We often joke about this when we're with other people. Actually, my wife's not a very good cook. Sorry, Tansy. So actually, when we do cook, I usually do a lot more cooking. Now, you know, if one day I'm a lot busier than my wife, maybe she will do more cooking, but generally I do a lot more cooking the last several years. I actually love cooking. It's my favorite kind of housework. And in case some of you want to know, I can cook many, many, many different food. If somebody said, oh, can you barbecue a fish? I'm like, yeah, I can barbecue a fish. Could you do some barbecued pork? Yeah, I could do some barbecued pork. I can do some fried rice. I can do some Chinese dishes, some foreign dishes. I can cook Italian pasta. I can do many different kinds of dishes. And I enjoy trying, like I said at the beginning, I like to try cooking different things because cooking the same thing all the time gets very boring. Okay, so what we'll do is I'm going to go through some common Western foods, and I'm also going to look at some Chinese foods and make sure you know the names of some of the most common Chinese foods. I'm sure you probably do know some of them or most of them. So breakfast. Probably the #1 most common breakfast for children in Australia and probably in America and the UK is this. Now, there are many different kinds of this, but do you know the name of it? It normally comes in a box. We pour it into a bowl and we eat it with milk and a spoon. Or we pour in milk and then we eat it with a spoon. That is cereal. Now, cereal, like I said, there's many. This is not a cereal I eat. Mine looks very different to this, but it generally goes in a bowl with milk, eaten in a spoon. Why do we like cereal? Because it's fast and really, really easy. It tastes good. And in Australia, it's pretty cheap. In China, cereal is actually pretty expensive. So the best thing is it's a box in the cupboard in your kitchen. If you're a mother and your child or your children are like 10 or 11 years old, or even 7 or 8-year-olds, can go and get their own breakfast if the house is busy or if there's nobody there to help them in the morning. Or I used to actually come home from school and have cereal as a snack in the afternoon. So it's easy for children to get for themselves. So imagine a house that has 2, 3, 4 kids. I know that's not something that happens in China, but that's where that comes from. A house that has a lot of children, big box of cereal, feeds a lot of the children, and it's fast. They can get it themselves. Another thing that's more common, probably more with adults, is this. We put the bread into the machine, we press the button, it pops up 3 or 4 minutes later like this. Okay, so do you know what that is called? Toast. And the machine is called a toaster. Okay, so generally Toast is not something you eat by itself. You don't put it in, take it out and go, that's delicious. It's actually pretty boring by itself. But you'll get something and you'll put it onto the toast. You might put some jam. Jam is usually made from fruit, like they crush the strawberries and put it in the jar. You open it up, scoop it out, and put it on your toast. So peanut butter, jam, and other spreads, things that you can use a knife and put on the bread like that. Okay, so cereal and toast, in fact, probably 350 days of the year, I have cereal or toast for breakfast. Okay, so they're the most common things. Probably only once a month, I have different foods. Once or twice a month, I don't have these things for breakfast. So what are probably a couple of other common breakfasts we have, but more on a special day? One is this. Again, very sweet, not very healthy, but can be delicious. These are called, very good, well done, pancakes. Now, pancakes are really, really easy to make. I've made them many, many times at home. Flour, eggs, milk, sugar, a little bit of baking powder or oil. Really easy to make. And normally the sugar makes them sweet, and you put fruit and you pour some honey or jam or something on them. Maple syrup is very common. It's a special thing that comes from the Canadian trees, maple trees that you see on the Canadian flag. That's the maple leaf. So maple syrup comes from the tree, and it's a delicious thing, very, very sweet thing to put on pancakes. If you don't like sweet food, you probably don't want to eat pancakes. But again, I usually probably cook pancakes. Actually, in Australia, I don't do it, but in China, I usually do it, say, once a month. I invite friends over to cook pancakes and have coffee. And every now and then, I have to do this. Now, there's many, 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 many different things you put in here, but this is basically a cooked breakfast. Now, there's a special English breakfast. There's the American breakfast. They're all a little bit different, but generally they have bacon. There's actually no bacon in that picture. Bacon's an easy one in Chinese. It sounds a little bit like bacon. Eggs. Now, there's many different ways to have eggs. If you go to a restaurant, they will say to you, how do you like your eggs? These eggs are scrambled, or they have fried. You know, the normal fried egg where it's white on the outside, yellow circle in the middle. They fry it. And there's other ways. I like fried eggs with my cooked breakfast. Often you'll have a little bit of toast, some sausage. There's some sausage there, maybe some tomatoes or mushrooms. Again, it's very different from country to country. Okay, so I will normally have a cooked breakfast maybe at home a few times a year, but maybe I'll go out. When I'm out having like a late breakfast on a Sunday on holiday, then I will have a cooked breakfast when somebody else is doing it and I'm just relaxing. So these four things here probably cover 90% of Western breakfasts. There are other things you can have, but these are the four most common things. Again, there's special kinds of cereal called muesli, which is also very, very common. Muesli is also have fruit and nuts and cereal all mixed in together. Okay, so that's breakfast. What about other meals? Now, I'm sure at home or wherever you are watching this video, you know some of the most common Western foods. Okay, but I'm going to introduce to you some of those, see which ones you know. So right now, before I go on to the next page, stop the video and try to think, what are all the different Western foods you know? Okay, so come back in a second and let's have a look. So I'm not going to say lunch or dinner because pretty much something you have for lunch, we might also have for dinner. So they kind of mix up there. That doesn't really say one or the other. So same thing, I'm going to show you the picture. Straight away, tell me what you know, what you think it is. So first of all, the most common lunch for the average child and often office workers that go to the work and have the same thing every day. In fact, here is mine. I have one of these. This is my lunch. I will eat this after this video, or maybe after the next video. In fact, do you know what it is? That is a sandwich. Now, a sandwich has, I might as well just show you my sandwich. This will be a bit messy. So this is actually not planned. I didn't make this sandwich thinking I'm going to show people my lunch. So on my sandwich, you can see I have some vegetables, some meat. I have some sliced salami. It's a special kind of sausage. Some cheese, some lettuce, some tomato, and cucumber. Okay, so pretty healthy. It's brown bread, not white bread. In fact, never eat white bread. It's very bad for your bowels. You can get very sick when you're old if you eat lots of white bread. So brown bread on a sandwich, very healthy lunch. Again, it's cheap, it's fast, it's healthy, and it can taste very good. Okay, I have some peppers, some spicy peppers on that give it a lot of flavor. Okay, so sandwiches are really common. When you go to a school, you'll see half the kids almost, maybe not half, but a lot of kids. It's probably the most common thing you'll see at the school is children eating a sandwich. Now, my sandwich is pretty healthy. You can also have unhealthy sandwiches.